D'accord. Donc rappelez-moi où est la ville.
Remind me where the town is? There. We give priority to models, exchanges about contemporary pictures. They have various exercises to do, focuses on old documents, and also a lot focuses on reading about current space. Therefore, we are working on the notion of plot, and by analyzing these plots on a cadastral plan or in space, we ask them to understand the urban organization on a specific part of the history of a town. There is a difference between the town as it was before Louis XIV and the town after Louis XIV. In fact, what we want to achieve in this exercise is that they hold on to the fact that fortification is going to get thicker and thicker. Therefore, we are going to fight off the attacker. We light up the site, the heights of the Porte de Paris, the heights of the Port de Gand, there it is. They must find the depths of the valley.
Madame, maintenant, un petit peu, reculez-vous.
Elle va ouvrir la vanne, madame. Elle va ouvrir la vanne.
We are going to open the gate and see what happens. We are really going to take into account what happens. It is hollow and it has spread.
C'est creux, ça se disperse.
Alors, ça
What does that make you think of?
a des étangs.
Ponds.
Sauf si ça nage.
Donc l'endroit le mieux,
Non, parce qu'ils sont armés, donc ils coulent.
l'endroit le mieux défendu.
What is the best protected place?
L'endroit le mieux défendu, c'est
C'est là
quoi?
où il y a l'eau.
Non,
La citadelle.
The citadel. The water. It is here. We cannot put it here because there is no water there.
Donc Vauban.
There you go. Then Vauban found the best place to put the citadel. This Vauban here is really good. The starting point for me was simply the knowledge I had of fortification as a curious adult and a history teacher, and when I found myself reading history books that were intended for certain classes, in particular year 9 or year 10, I realized that it would be good to use local resources to illustrate and better comprehend what remains, so to speak, abstract and theoretical in books.
Abstrait et reste théorique, si je puis dire.
From that, the desire came to make diorama and productions that would enable children to learn things in 3 dimensions and not just from a strictly intellectual point of view. This was the starting point that embellished the creation of a history club in a school which produced these shows with pupils who were volunteers. Starting from that, I realized that it would be interesting to produce a kind of show about how fortification has evolved. One that would be destined for the non-specialists and would show how a small town can be an example of permanent transformation and adaptation of something which initially seems mineralized and fossilized, but that in fact does not stop changing as the centuries go on.
Et qui en fait ne cesse pas de changer au cours des siècles.
We want to interpret elements that exist, that are either the result of scientific research or things that we can see in an everyday town. These are things that are known on a certain point of view and that we really want to read into. We would like to translate them for the general public in a nice, very practical and also very visual way. Therefore, using a lot of media, such as productions, digital reconstructions, but also through playful techniques that are as much for adults as they are for children. digital games, more tactile games, things that we can handle so that we can fully immerse into this history and understand it better. And therefore, in Brussels, we also have a very extensive range of iconographic documentation. We are going to use a plan because it is very, very useful in terms of providing information and also because it has 3D illustrations and aerial images that are sometimes, in certain cases, clearer than a plan. Therefore, it will always be used in conjunction with other media. Currently, the Septentrion project has 2 interpretation circuits in Brussels. One interpretation circuit that will involve the boulevards, and it is our role to offer them this work. It will be offered simply in paper format. We will leave people and distribute paper. The brochure will be distributed for free, and these works are also there to make people come to the Porte de Halle. The Porte de Halle is also there to lead people to do these works. The idea, in fact, is to create a tool which not only furthers understanding, but is also appropriate for exhibition. Nothing less than an exhibition module in itself. It will focus on how we find our way in space and what scenography tells us about things, how we read documents and knowledge. That is a bit more thematic. It is therefore the guide that will deliver this. The second part will be a lot more playful. The child will be more independent and will be the actor of the tour. Which of these work can be associated with this building trade? To plaster, metal spatula, cinder blocks, elevation, square? To plaster. The objective is to really compare work, and we are trying to insert the activity into the exhibition. The backwards and forwards movement is very important. They are going to read documents. We are not for them. They have to succeed by having fun learning. The aim is that we are not motionless. They can leave after the tour, of course. Maybe they have learned a lot, but it is not always organized. Even if we try to follow on an outline, they are not always there intent on listening to us. The rule of the game is that there is a dangerous part. They work in groups and they have to find answers and express them. This means that if there are any mistakes, we refocus, and that is done tactily and slowly. It is not always as easy as that. And when they return with their questions, sometimes we realize that there are still some blurry areas. The leading weekly newspaper from the north of France is okay. Both are valid. It's true, we give it movement. It's funny, really. I draw the metaphor between the siege, which is immobile, and the battle, which has plenty of movement. Here, we were under siege, but also attacked. We were a bit of both.